Do you need an ID to vote?
Generally, it's a good idea to bring an ID. There are some states that require them but don't check them. There are other states that require not just any old ID, but a government-issued photo ID.
For the November election, 33 states have some kind of voter ID requirement. More than half of those laws are flexible, either allowing people to use things like a utility bill as an ID or allowing voters without an ID to sign an affidavit instead. 7 states have very strict voter ID laws.
Some states, like Georgia, have very strict photo ID requirements to vote. So it's not enough to simply have a photo ID. You have to have particular types of ID.
Some states waive their voter ID requirements when people vote by mail. Arkansas is one that does not.
That's one of the obstacles for some of these people in Arkansas who will make an absentee ballot request. And then if they decide to go ahead and complete the absentee ballot and mail it in, they're supposed to also submit a photocopy of valid ID.
There's also a federal voter ID law to keep in mind. It requires first-time voters to show an approved ID if they registered by mail and didn't include a photocopy of their ID with the registration application. Stephanie Liebergen, Newsy, Miami.